Hello and welcome, dear listener. I invite you to take a seat, find a comfortable space and allow yourself to relax. Tonight you're about to hear a story not just about someone's journey, but about a transformation so profound that it altered not only the life of the person involved, but the perception of everyone around them. This is a story of evolution, of growing beyond what others thought was possible, and of turning the tables on those who once doubted you. You see, every one of us is chosen for something greater, and sometimes that greatness unfolds in the quietest of ways. It's not the loud battles we fight on the surface, but the quiet, unseen changes we make within ourselves that matter most. That's where our story begins. Imagine for a moment being the person that everyone else had already written off. Maybe they laughed at you, mocked your dreams, and predicted your failure. You were the easy target, the one people used to make themselves feel better, to remind themselves that they were better off than you. It wasn't personal, it was simply the way they saw the world. But what they didn't realise was that the very thing they underestimated, the thing they ridiculed, was quietly transforming. At first, it was almost imperceptible. Maybe they didn't notice the small changes, the way you carried yourself a little taller, the way your confidence grew even though they still tried to tear you down. You didn't react the way they expected you to. Their words, their mockery, it all seemed to bounce off you. Why? Because you were changing from the inside out, and that transformation was more powerful than anything they could say or do. As the days passed, you began to rise slowly but surely. What they thought was a fleeting moment of hope became a permanent shift. The person they thought would always be beneath them was now standing tall, unshaken by their attempts to hold you back. And let me tell you, that shift, that quiet evolution terrified them. This story is about those very moments when you realise that the growth you've achieved is so undeniable that it forces others to change the way they speak about you, whether they want to or not. The very people who once dismissed you are now being forced to confront the truth you are not who they thought you were, and it's driving them mad. They thought they had you all figured out, but now there's a shift in the air, a tension that they can't ignore. The whispers that used to carry mockery have turned into reluctant respect. The laughter they once shared behind your back has been replaced with an uncomfortable silence, because they now know something they couldn't deny. Before, you are not the same person they believed they could diminish forever. This isn't about seeking validation from those who doubted you. No, this is about something deeper, something far more profound. This is the kind of transformation that doesn't require explanations or apologies, the kind that speaks for itself. And as you continue on this path, others will be forced to face the reality that their perceptions of you are all wrong. Not only are you better than they thought, you're better than they ever imagined. Now I invite you to join me as we explore how this quiet transformation, this evolution of spirit, confidence and power shapes the world around you. Let's step into this journey, and together we'll discover how the enemies who once tried to break you are now being forced to confront the truth of your resilience. Get comfortable and let me take you through a story of triumph, not over others, but over the doubt and limitations once placed on you. This is the story of how they had to change their tune. This is the story of how your silence and growth became the loudest victory of all. As you sit with me deep in the world of this story, it's important to understand something crucial about transformation. It's never immediate. It never happens overnight. It's a quiet, gradual process that often goes unnoticed by the very people who once had the most to say about you. They didn't see it at first, the subtle shift in your energy, the slight changes in your behaviour, your unshakable resolve. To them, you were just a fleeting moment in their story. But what they failed to realise was that you were becoming something far greater than the sum of their criticisms and expectations. You were becoming someone who no longer needed to prove themselves to anyone. At the start, they mocked your dreams, your goals, your every aspiration. You were the subject of their jokes, the object of their disdain. Your very existence seemed to serve as a reminder for them that they had a target to hit, a way to make themselves feel superior. But as time passed, that power they held over you began to fade. Slowly but surely your strength, your resilience, and your growth became so undeniable that they were left without a script to follow. You see, change often begins in silence, when others around you are still stuck in the old narrative, still trapped in their outdated assumptions. You're evolving. While they spent their time doubting you, you spent yours transforming yourself. And it wasn't about doing it for them. No, this transformation was always for you. It was about you stepping into your own truth, your own power, your own potential. For a while, you didn't even notice the changes happening within you. You were so focused on surviving, on getting through each day, that you didn't realize how much stronger you were becoming. But the people who once scorned you, they saw it. They saw the quiet strength you carried, the way you no longer reacted to their taunts or their jabs. You were no longer their punching bag, no longer the easy target to feel superior. And let me tell you, that frightened them. The shift wasn't loud, it didn't announce itself with fanfare or dramatic moments. It was quiet, but it was undeniable. It was the way you held your head a little higher, walked with a little more purpose, and made decisions with confidence. It was the calmness in your demeanour, the peaceful certainty in your choices. They noticed it. It was the kind of change they couldn't ignore, no matter how hard they tried. But here's the thing about people who have always viewed you through a lens of limitation. They can't handle seeing you break free from that lens. They can't cope with watching you rise beyond the box they built for you. It disrupts everything they've known about you. It forces them to confront their own assumptions, their own ignorance, and their own failure to see the truth in you. And that, my friend, is something they cannot bear as the chosen one. Your growth has been so deep, so profound, that even those who once laughed at you are now left in a state of discomfort. They have no words left for you, no easy insults, no quick jabs. And you know what? They're feeling it. Every time they try to diminish you, it only exposes their own bitterness, their own insecurities. Because when you grow, when you evolve, it forces everyone around you to look at themselves, and that's a truth they aren't ready to face. It's not that you wanted to show them up or prove them wrong, you didn't need to. Your growth was for you, not for them. But their inability to accept it, to accept the person you've become, creates a deep, gnawing discomfort within them. They are forced to come to terms with the fact that everything they believed about you was wrong, and that realization, it's eating them alive, because now they're left in the wreckage of their own assumptions, their own judgments, while you stand tall, unaffected by their past cruelty. The truth is, your transformation isn't about proving anything to them. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. It's about shedding the old skin, the old perceptions, and emerging into a version of yourself that is authentic, powerful, and unapologetically you. And that, my friend, is the most devastating thing your enemies could have ever encountered. They can no longer mock you, they can no longer diminish you, they can no longer pretend that you aren't worthy of success, happiness, or respect. And deep down they know this. They know that the narrative they created about you on a failure of hopelessness, of limitation, has completely fallen apart. What they didn't count on, what they couldn't have anticipated, was your quiet revolution. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The change you've undergone has been so powerful that in their desperation they've started talking about you behind closed doors. They have started admitting to one another in whispers and hushed tones that maybe, just maybe, they were wrong about you. And the pain in those words, the shame they feel for having underestimated you, cuts deeper than anything they ever could have said to your face. Now I want you to imagine for a moment these same people who once laughed at your every move, who ridiculed your dreams, are now the ones who must confront the uncomfortable truth that you've surpassed them. And do you know what that does to them? It eats them from the inside out. It forces them into a corner where they have no choice but to acknowledge what they couldn't deny. Anymore, you are not the person they thought you were. You are not the failure they predicted. You are something far more powerful than they ever imagined. Their shame is not just a passing feeling, something that's festering, something that eats away at them every time they have to acknowledge your growth. They can't escape it. They can't erase the truth of your success, the truth of your transformation. And this, my friend, is where your quiet strength has proven to be more powerful than any revenge or confrontation ever could be. You've done it. You've risen above their expectations, above their mockery, and you've done it all without them even realizing it. They never saw you coming. They never expected you to evolve in the way that you have. And now they're forced to deal with the consequences of their own blind hatred. The shift in perception is undeniable. What was once whispered in mockery is now a reluctant admission of respect. They don't want to say it, but they have no choice. And this is where you stand at the intersection of your own growth and their silent, bitter acknowledgement of their failure to see your potential. You are no longer who they thought you were, and that's the most powerful victory of all. As the chosen one, you've reached a point where your transformation has become undeniable, a fact that even your harshest critics cannot avoid. But here's where the story takes a deeper, more uncomfortable turn. Because while your evolution has been a testament to your inner strength and growth, it has also forced the people who once ridiculed you into an emotional and psychological battle they never saw coming. You've moved on from them, but they can't seem to move on from you. And that is their struggle. You may not be aware of it, but the people who once underestimated you, who once took pleasure in your misfortunes, are now left in a state of confusion and discomfort. They thought they knew you. They thought they had you all figured out. But now, with every success you achieve, every stride you take toward greatness, they are being forced to confront the fact that they were wrong about you, and by extension, wrong about themselves. It's one thing to fail, but it's another to be proven wrong by the very person you thought would never rise above the dust. The enemies who once thrived on the idea of your failure are now grappling with the deep, painful realization that you're not only succeeding, but thriving in ways they could never have imagined. And that is where the true devastation for them begins. Their denial of your potential, the very thing that once fueled their arrogance and disdain, has now become the thing that consumes them. They are caught in a bind torn between their inability to admit they were wrong and the undeniable evidence of your success. They cannot ignore it. They cannot erase the fact that your growth has forced them to change their entire narrative about you, and that is a painful pill to swallow. The truth is their pride won't allow them to fully acknowledge your triumphs. They would rather remain silent, hoping that if they ignore it long enough it will go away. But they can't. They can't escape the reality of your transformation no matter how hard they try. And the more they try to deny it, the deeper their discomfort grows. Let's take a step back for a moment and look at the dynamics at play here. These people who once laughed at you, mocked your every step, and doubted your abilities are now faced with a truth they can't handle. You've become someone they can no longer control, someone whose presence in their lives has gone from an object of ridicule to a mirror that reflects their own failures. You see, when people have invested so much time and energy in undermining someone, they become psychologically tied to the narrative they've created. For them, it was easier to dismiss you, easier to think you'd never amount to anything than to confront the possibility that you were capable of greatness. But now that your reality contradicts their narrative, they're caught in a spiral of confusion and regret. Their minds are scrambling for an explanation, for a way to justify their previous judgments. But nothing they come up with can explain your success. Nothing can diminish the evidence in front of them that you have far surpassed their expectations. The most painful part for them is that they can't even say it's because you've done something wrong, or that you've been lucky, or that there was some hidden advantage that you had. No, the truth is you've achieved everything you have through your own hard work, perseverance, and self-belief. You did it on your own terms, and that is a realization they simply cannot accept. Because it means that all the time they spent trying to tear you down, trying to convince others of your failure, was a waste. Worse still, it means they were wrong about you in a way they cannot undo. The enemies may try to justify their previous actions. They may claim that their criticisms were meant to motivate you or toughen you up. But deep down they know this is a weak excuse for the cruelty they showed you. The truth is they were motivated by insecurity. They were afraid of your potential, afraid of what it meant for them if you succeeded. They built their sense of self-worth by tearing others down, and now they are faced with the harsh reality that the very person they tried to diminish has surpassed them. And here's where their struggle intensifies. You may have noticed it, the sudden awkward silences when your name comes up in conversations, the forced compliments, the uncomfortable attempts to change the narrative. They try to play it cool to act as though nothing has changed. But the truth is, they are being torn apart by their own failure to recognize your greatness in the first place. They are not only embarrassed by their past behavior, but they are also resentful of the fact that your success has stripped them of the power they once held over you. They may try to make light of it, laughing it off or pretending that they always knew you were capable of success, but it's hollow, it's transparent, and everyone around them can see it. They try to rewrite history to paint themselves as the ones who always believed in you, but that too falls flat. Everyone remembers the insults, the jabs, the ridicule, and now when they try to claim they were always on your side, it's painfully obvious that they're only doing so to save face. The real tragedy for these enemies is that they never understood the true power of your transformation. It wasn't about proving them wrong, it wasn't about showing them up. No, your success was always about proving to yourself that you were capable of achieving what they said you couldn't. You did it not for their approval, but for your own. And that in itself is what stings them the most. They don't know how to process the fact that your growth, your strength, and your confidence came without them. They thought they were a crucial part of your story, but in reality they were just a backdrop to your evolution. Their efforts to undermine you, their attempts to diminish your worth, were never enough to stop you. And now they are faced with the painful truth your success didn't need them. They are irrelevant to your journey now. They have become mere footnotes in your story, and that is a reality they cannot bear. Every time they see you succeed, every time they hear about your achievements, it's a reminder that they were wrong, that they wasted their time, their energy, and their resources trying to tear you down. And the worst part, they can't even confront you about it. They can't apologize, they can't admit the harm they caused. Their pride, their narcissism, their unwillingness to face the truth keeps them trapped in a web of their own making. And so they remain silent, stewing in their regret, unable to change the course of their own actions. Now, when they see your name in the news or hear about your latest accomplishments, they are forced to reckon with their past. They can no longer pretend they didn't know who you were. They can no longer deny the truth of your growth. And that truth is eating away at them slowly but surely until they are left with nothing but bitterness and regret. But here's the most beautiful part of all: while they are trapped in their own shame, you continue to rise. You continue to evolve. Your transformation is not for them, it's for you. And that, my friend, is the ultimate victory. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You've proven everything you need to prove to yourself. And the best part, they're still stuck. They're still trying to figure out how you did it, still grasping at straws to explain your success. But they'll never truly understand because they were never meant to. Your success wasn't for them to understand, it was for you to live. As we reach the end of this journey together, it's time to reflect on the powerful truth that has unraveled before us. The tale of the chosen one isn't just about overcoming adversity or proving others wrong. It's about the quiet, steadfast transformation that takes place within the evolution that is so profound that it forces the world around you to change. It's about rising from the ashes, not for the sake of revenge, but for the sake of becoming the best version of yourself. And in that transformation, you silence your critics, not with words or confrontation, but with your actions and your unwavering commitment to growth. In the beginning, your enemies saw you as small, insignificant, and weak. They mocked you, ridiculed your every move, and placed bets on your downfall. To them, you were an easy target, a symbol of what they could point to in order to feel superior. They thought they knew you, but what they didn't understand was the quiet power that was building within you. What they failed to see was the immense potential that lay dormant, waiting for the right moment to break free. You didn't need to tell anyone about your struggles. You didn't need to shout from the rooftops or beg for their acknowledgement. No, you did it in silence, one step at a time, with patience and persistence. You focused on your own journey, your own growth, and that was the most powerful thing you could have done. The truth of your transformation didn't need to be proven, it was evident to everyone who was paying attention, and most importantly to you. Your enemies never saw it coming. They never expected you to rise above their expectations, above the small, limiting box they had placed you in. But rise you did, and with each success, each step forward, you left them in the dust of their own negativity. And it wasn't just about your achievements, it was about the way you carried yourself, the energy you exuded, the way you stopped shrinking when they tried to diminish you. Your indifference to their opinions became your greatest weapon, and the fact that you no longer cared about their validation made you more powerful than they could ever have imagined. As your enemies began to face the consequences of their actions, they were forced to confront a harsh truth: they were wrong about you. But that wasn't just painful for them because they had been wrong. It was painful because admitting they were wrong meant admitting their own failure to recognize your potential. It meant acknowledging that they had spent years underestimating you, trying to break you, only to find that you'd been quietly growing all along. That realization was too much for their fragile egos to handle. So they began to change their story. At first, it was small, just whispers and backpedaling behind closed doors. But over time, those whispers turned into reluctant admissions of respect. They tried to rewrite history, tried to convince others that they always knew you had potential, but it was too late. The damage had been done, and they were left with nothing but the uncomfortable truth that they had wasted so much energy trying to tear you down. But here's the most beautiful part of all: despite their best efforts, they were powerless to stop you. Their words, their mockery, their attempts to diminish your worth, none of it mattered in the end, because you didn't need their approval. You didn't need to prove anything to them. You did it all for yourself, for your own growth, for your own peace, and that is the greatest victory of all. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to expose their cruelty or confront them about the lies they spread. All you needed to do was keep moving forward, keep evolving, keep growing, and in doing so you became everything they feared you would never be: successful, confident, and beyond their reach. And as you rose, they were left behind, clinging to their old narratives, unable to move forward because they couldn't accept the reality that they had been wrong about you. Now, as you continue on your journey, remember that your evolution is not for anyone else but you. Your success is not about rubbing it in their faces or showing them how far you've come. It's about the quiet satisfaction of knowing you've become the person you were always meant to be. It's about the strength you've gained, not through external validation, but through inner resilience and self-belief. You've proved to yourself that you're capable of greatness, and that's the only proof you'll ever need. And to those who doubted you, to those who tried to break you, to those who laughed at your dreams and mocked your efforts, thank them. Thank them for pushing you further, for forcing you to prove that you are stronger than their hate, their judgment, and their blindness. Because without them, without their negativity, without their belief that you would fail, you wouldn't have become who you are today. They served a purpose, though they may not have realized it at the time. And now, as you continue to grow, they will watch from the sidelines, unable to deny the truth that you've always known, that you are more than they could ever have imagined. So as we close this chapter, know this: your journey is far from over. You will continue to rise, continue to evolve, continue to silence the doubts of others with your actions and your growth. Your transformation has only just begun, and the world will continue to witness your evolution in ways that will leave them speechless. But remember, the true reward isn't in the acknowledgement of others. It's in the peace and confidence you feel within yourself. It's in knowing that you have become the person you were always meant to be, and that no one can take that away from you. Now take a moment and reflect on your own journey. Think about the times when you were doubted, when people tried to hold you back, when they laughed at your dreams. How far have you come since then? How much stronger, more resilient, and more powerful are you now? The road may not have been easy, but it was worth it. Every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt only served to build you into the person you are today. And as you continue on this path, remember that you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your growth speaks for itself. Your transformation is the greatest victory you could ever achieve, and no one can take that away from you. So my dear friend, as we part ways today, know that your journey is just beginning. The world is waiting to see what you'll do next, and no matter where life takes you, remember this: you are the chosen one, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can ever change that. Thank you for walking this path with me, for listening to this story, and for being part of something truly special. Continue to rise, continue to evolve, and never forget the power of your own transformation. Until we meet again, keep moving forward and may your light shine brighter than ever.